The Heatherstone grill buzzed with the low murmur of conversations and the clinking of cutlery. Soft jazz played in the background, blending seamlessly with the ambient noise. The restaurant's dim lighting cast a warm glow over the polished wooden tables and the crisp white tablecloths. A man entered, his presence subtle yet commanding. Dressed modestly in a well-worn blazer and slacks, he moved with a quiet confidence. His eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail. He approached the hostess stand, where a young woman greeted him with a practiced smile. "Good evening, sir. Do you have a reservation?" He shook his head. "No, but I was hoping to get a table for one." She hesitated, glancing at the reservation book. "Let me see what we have available." After a moment, she led him to a small table near the back of the restaurant. He thanked her and took his seat, unfolding the menu with deliberate care. A young waiter approached, his demeanor slightly nervous. His hair was slicked back, and he wore a forced grin. "Good evening, sir. My name is Nico, and I'll be your server tonight." The man nodded. "Thank you, Nico." Nico shifted uncomfortably. "I just wanted to let you know that, for certain guests, we require payment up front for entrees." The man's gaze sharpened. "Certain guests?" Nico hesitated. "It's just a policy we have sometimes." Before the man could respond, a waitress approached. Her name Tegrid Lena. She looked at Nico with a mixture of disbelief and frustration. "Nico, that's not our policy. We don't ask guests to pay before they eat." Nico looked flustered. "I was just following instructions." Lena turned to the man. "I'm so sorry about this, sir. Please ignore what he said." The man offered a small smile. "Thank you, Lena." From across the room, the manager, Gavin, watched the exchange with narrowed eyes. He gestured subtly to Nico, who quickly retreated. Gavin then approached Lena. "Lena, can I see you in my office?" She glanced at the man, then back at Gavin. "Of course." As she followed Gavin, the man observed the interaction, his expression unreadable. He took a sip of water, his mind racing with thoughts. The next evening, the Heatherstone Grill prepared for another night of service. Staff bustled about, setting tables and reviewing reservations. The atmosphere was as polished as ever. At precisely 6 p.m., the man returned. This time, he wore a tailored charcoal suit and polished shoes. His presence was unmistakable. The hostess, recognizing him, straightened immediately. "Good evening, sir. Welcome back to the Heatherstone Grill." He nodded, his eyes scanning the room. He spotted Lena, who was setting down a plate at a nearby table. Their eyes met, and recognition dawned on her face. Whispers spread among the staff as they noticed the man's return. Gavin emerged from his office, his expression tense. The man approached Gavin. "Good evening, Gavin." Gavin forced a smile. "Good evening, sir. If I had known you were coming, we would have prepared." The man raised an eyebrow. "Do I look like someone who needs special treatment?" Gavin hesitated. "No, sir. Of course not." The man turned to the staff. "How many of you knew who I was last night?" Silence. He continued. "I came here looking for answers. I had heard complaints about how certain customers were treated. I wanted to see for myself." He turned back to Gavin. "What I saw disgusted me." Gavin paled. "Sir, I can explain." The man held up a hand. "There's nothing to explain. I watched as your staff ignored me, treated me like an inconvenience. And when one person showed me kindness, she was reprimanded." He looked at Lena. "You stood up for me when no one else did. You did what this restaurant was built to do, treat people with dignity." He handed her a card. She took it, reading the text. "Promoted to general manager, effective immediately." Lena's eyes widened. "I don't understand." The man smiled. "You don't belong waiting tables. You belong running this place." Gavin stepped forward. "Sir, you can't be serious." The man turned to him. "I can and I am. You're fired." Gasps echoed around the room. Gavin sputtered. "I've worked here for years." The man interrupted. "Leadership requires character. I don't reward those who bully employees and alienate customers." He addressed the staff. "I suggest you all reflect on how you treat people. Starting tonight, everything changes." The Heatherstone Grill buzzed with its usual evening energy. Servers weaved between tables, balancing trays laden with gourmet dishes. The clinking of cutlery and murmurs of conversation filled the air. Suddenly, the front doors swung open. A hush fell over the dining room. Dorian Hale stepped inside, dressed in a sharp tailored suit, his presence commanding attention. "Masterclass." Jessica, the hostess, straightened up, her eyes widening in recognition. "Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Heatherstone Grill," she greeted, her voice tinged with nervousness. Dorian's gaze swept across the room, settling on Lena Truitt, who was setting down a plate at a nearby table. Their eyes met, and a flicker of surprise crossed her face. Whispers rippled through the staff as they recognized the man who had been treated so poorly the night before. Gavin, the manager, emerged from his office, his expression a mix of shock and apprehension. Dorian approached Gavin, his steps measured. "Mr. Hale," Gavin stammered, forcing a smile. "What a surprise. If I had known you were coming, we would have prepared. Do I look like a man who needs special treatment?" Dorian interrupted, his voice calm but firm. Gavin hesitated. "No, sir. I just meant." Dorian turned to address the staff. "How many of you knew who I was last night?" Silence. No one moved. He let the quiet hang in the air before speaking again. "I came here last night looking for answers. I'd been hearing complaints about the way certain customers, were treated in my restaurants. So I decided to find out for myself." The tension in the room was palpable. Dorian's gaze settled on Gavin. "And what I saw disgusted me." Gavin paled. "Sir, I can explain." Dorian held up a hand. "There's nothing to explain. I watched my own staff ignore me. I was treated like an inconvenience. And when one person showed me kindness, she was scolded for it." He turned to Lena, his voice softer. "You stood up for me, even when you didn't have to. Even when it could have cost you your job." Lena opened her mouth, then closed it, overwhelmed. Dorian pulled a card from his pocket and handed it to her. She hesitated before taking it, her eyes scanning the text. "Promoted to general manager, effective immediately." A collective gasp echoed through the restaurant. "You don't belong waiting tables here," Dorian said simply. "You belong running this place." Gavin sputtered. "Sir, you can't be serious." "I can and I am," Dorian said, turning to him. "You're fired." Jessica gasped. The young waiter's jaw dropped. Gavin clenched his fists. "This is ridiculous. All this over some random waitress?" Dorian's expression darkened. "Her name is Lena, and that's the difference between you and her." Gavin bit back a retort, then turned and stormed toward the back office. Dorian addressed the rest of the staff. "I suggest the rest of you take a good hard look at the way you treat people. Because after tonight, everything changes." Lena, still holding the promotion card, looked up at him with tears in her eyes. "But why?" she asked softly. "Why do this for me?" Dorian gave her a small smile. "Because when no one else did, you saw me. Now it's my turn to see you." And just like that, the Heatherstone Grill would never be the same. Part 3, After the Fire. The night after Dorian Hale's return, the Heatherstone Grill was quiet. Too quiet. No silverware clinking. No music humming. No murmured conversation. Just silence. Lena Truitt stood alone in the dining room. Lights dimmed. Shadows clinging to the walls like smoke after a burn. She ran her fingers along the hostess stand. Still there, though the nameplates had changed. Hers now. General manager. But it didn't feel real. Not yet. Not with the ghost of yesterday still echoing down the halls. She glanced toward the office door. Still locked. Still sealed. Gavin hadn't come back. Not officially. But the place still felt, watched, like something had been left unfinished. She turned when she heard the soft click of the entrance unlocking. Dorian walked in. He wore no suit tonight. No armor. Just a black sweater, slacks, and the look of a man who hadn't slept. Lena met him halfway. "You didn't have to come back," she said. "I did," he said. "There's one more thing I need to do." She waited. He looked around slowly, as if memorizing every detail of the restaurant. Every wall. Every light fixture. Every face that wasn't there. Then he looked at her. "You think Gavin left quietly?" Lena froze. "No," she said. "He didn't." Dorian nodded. "This place has roots. Deep ones. Tied to people who think reputation matters more than integrity. Gavin didn't just manage this restaurant. He protected the culture behind it. A rotting one. You think he's trying to fight back?" "I know he is," Dorian said. "Last night was just the start." Lena crossed her arms. "Then what do we do?" He reached into his coat and handed her a flash drive. "I pulled everything," he said. "Staff records. Surveillance archives. Internal reviews. The real ones. Not the ones they show to investors." Lena hesitated. "Why me?" "Because I'm not staying," Dorian said. "This chain is yours now." Her breath caught. "I can't." "You already have," he interrupted. "I built this brand to reflect values. Truth. Fairness. Somewhere along the way, we lost all of that. I need someone who remembers what those things look like." He gestured to the flash drive. That drive is going to make enemies. There are people above Gavin who've been protecting these practices for years. They won't just let you expose them. She stared at it. Small. Silver. Heavy. How far does it go? She asked. He paused, then answered with a single word. Farther. Lena felt the weight of it settle in her hand. He stepped back, and for the first time, she saw something unguarded in his face. Not fear. Not regret. Relief. You've already done the hardest part, he said. You spoke up. Now you finish it. She looked at the flash drive again. Then she looked up, but Dorian was already gone. The next morning, Lena came in early. She plugged the drive into the office computer. It unlocked a storm. Emails. Audio recordings. Performance reviews blacked out for discretion. Staff complaints marked resolved but never answered. A pattern, over years, of silencing voices like hers. Like Dorian's. Voices that didn't fit the brand image. And names. Big ones. Investors. Executives. Media consultants. She backed away from the screen, sick. She wasn't just running a restaurant now. She was standing on top of a minefield. That night, the door opened again. Not Dorian this time. Gavin. He didn't come to shout. Or to beg. He came with a smile. The same one he wore when he was just following policy. You really think you're going to change all this? He asked. Lena didn't answer. You don't understand how deep it goes, he continued. This place runs on people like me. People who know how to manage risk. You think you're saving it? You're going to burn it down. She didn't flinch. He stepped closer. You don't scare me, he said. I don't have to, she said. The truth will. He laughed. And who's going to believe you? She turned her monitor, showed him the footage, of him in the back office, screaming at her, destroying customer feedback reports, tampering with files, the very night Dorian was there. His smile died. You're bluffing, he said. You know I'm not, she said. He backed up. You won't survive this, he said, a last flash of venom. Maybe not, she said, but you won't stop it either. He left without another word. A week later, Lena sat at a long table across from a board of regional executives. The footage had gone viral. The internal documents had been leaked. Whistleblowers from other branches stepped forward. The story had legs. Dorian was gone. No public comment. No press release. But she felt him there. In every headline. Chain owner exposes discrimination from within. She hadn't done it for glory. Or revenge. She did it because it was right. That night, she returned to the Heatherstone Grill. She walked through the dining room. Not quiet now. Laughter again. Voices. Different faces. Different energy. And when she passed the hostess stand, she saw a nameplate. Her name. Lena Truitt. General Manager. She stood a while watching. The staff didn't scatter when she walked by. They smiled. She smiled back. The restaurant had changed. And so had she.